Farmers in India have taken to the streets in protest at an interim deal on trade reached with the United States, which they say threatens livelihoods not just for farmers, but also for small businesses and workers. Some opposition figures going further to say the agreement amounts to, quote, betrayal against farmers. There have been calls for the trade minister to step down, but the government insists it has made no concessions on farmers' interests. Ishan Garg covering this story for CNA live from New Delhi. Ishan, why are farmers so concerned?
Well, the farmers' main concern is that as a result of the India-US trade deal, of which the framework has been agreed upon, they fear that cheap American imports are going to flood Indian markets, and that is going to make their lives very difficult. We spoke to some of the protesters who are on the ground, and they said that their biggest concern is that American farmers, who are often backed by big American multinational companies, they have very large land holdings and are therefore able to make agricultural produce at very large scales. And when those imports start coming into India, their produce will get sidelined. Their other concern is that because agricultural products were such a major part of the trade negotiations between India and the US, they were not consulted, even though this agreement has large bearing on what happens on their livelihoods. Because of these complaints, we saw farm unions across India, joined by trade unions which are backed by left parties in the country, organized protests in what they say were over 600 districts across the country. We saw a mixed impact of this general strike, with some states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala in southern India, and the state of West Bengal in eastern India seeing big disruptions. However, the impact was limited in other states across the country. We also saw the opposition bloc in India's parliament, led by the main opposition party, the Indian National Congress, stage a protest of its own inside the parliamentary complex in the morning on a Thursday. The opposition parties have been saying that India's interests have been compromised as part of the trade deal that India and US are working on, and they say that the farmers' interests have been compromised because this deal will benefit multinationals. Indian government, of course, has denied these allegations.
Specifically, India's trade minister has denied those allegations. What else has he said?
Well, India's trade minister says that the vast majority of products that are produced by Indian farmers have been kept outside the purview of the deal. In saying so, he means that not only have there not been any concessions, they were not even part of the negotiations as well. Let's listen into what India's trade minister Piyush Goyal said about the exclusion of agricultural products from the trade agreement.
मैं मानता हूं लगभग 90-95% जो उत्पाद किसानों का होता है वो यूएस ट्रेड डील के बाहर है, और जो भारत की आवश्यकता है, जो हम आज भी इंपोर्ट करते हैं, जो हमारे देश में किसानों को किसी प्रकार का हानि नहीं पहुंचाएगा, ऐसे वस्तुओं को कैलिब्रेटेड मैनर में सोची समझी रणनीति तहत हमने अमेरिका को खोला है.
Now, India's trade minister also says that India-US trade deal also needs to be looked at with a wider context of how it benefits both countries' economy. And he says that in the end, this is a win-win deal for both sides. Now, a major trade research organization called GTRI, based in New Delhi, has said that for agricultural imports coming into India, the farmers do have to worry about two particular kinds of imports. One would be, of course, soybean oil, and the other would be some kind of fruits, particularly things like apple and some dry fruits as well, almond and walnuts. And in these sectors, they say the farmers could face a pinch as US imports come into the Indian market.
Thanks, Ishan Garg, covering this story for CNA live from New Delhi.